verse, we talk about the Gentile Israelite foreigner, a bunch of Gentiles, the foreigner outside of Israel. We got two types of Gentiles. He talks about the Gentile Israelite foreigners,
right.
Israelites scattered amongst other nations that were brought up as other nation custom amongst the Gentiles within the other nation outside of Israel.
Let me read this real quick. Go ahead. This is Romans 11:23. And they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in. So about those Gentiles that you're talking about now. Yeah. It says, for the Most High is able to graft them in again. So how can they be grafted in again? They had to have already been in.
Right.
So
John 7:35.
So basically, those Gentiles are of they're basically considered the wild olive tree.
Gentiles,
Those ones who went off. They're Israelites. It's like this. If you have an apple tree, right?
Yeah.
And then some of the apples fall off the tree.
Yeah.
Are those apples not of that apple tree? Of that seed line?
They are.
You crack that apple open, what seed's gonna be in there?
Probably was nasty.
Apple seed.
Apple seeds will be in here.
Right.
Which means you can plant more seeds to grow more apple trees.
Right.
So those Gentiles that Paul was speaking of were actually Israelites who were in the Gentile state of mind. They didn't know that they were Israelites. You had some Israelites that knew they were, but they didn't follow the Israelite customs. They followed the Gentile customs, Hellenistic, basically. And then you have
Hellenistic.
They were
the Hellenistic in like what, Greece?
They were keeping Greek customs, but they know they were Hebrew Israelites. Right. Then you had Hellenes, those who didn't know that they were Israelites, but they were keeping the Greek customs. Maybe their father was raised in that custom, and he didn't teach his son or daughter to be that they were Hebrew Israelites and that they kept the custom of the Hebrew Israelites.
Well, let me ask y'all this: you don't think anywhere in the Bible it talks about Gentiles can be saved?
The Gentiles they can't be saved. They have to read it.
We're finna read it. I'm talking about.
No. If you're not of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, there is no salvation.
We finna read it. Go ahead and read it.
1 Maccabees 1:41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
Now we're going into the history. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're going into the history, okay? This is what happened to the Israelites. Go ahead.
And everyone should leave his law, so all the heathen agree according to the commandments.
All right, give me
of the
John
king.
7:35.
Yeah, being also the Israelites
Then give me 1
consented
Corinthians 12.
to his religion and sacrifices unto idols and profaned the Sabbath.
Read back up again.
Yeah. Many also the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrifices unto idols.
See? Consented to who religion? Antiochus. Antiochus was an Edomite. He was a Gentile. He was a heathen. Go ahead.
And sacrifices to idol and profane the Sabbath.
Profane the Sabbath. Okay, go ahead.
For the king hath sent letters by messenger unto Jerusalem and the city of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land.
The strange law of the land. That's what you got our people doing today. Go ahead.
And forbid burnt offering and sacrifice and drink offering in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbath and festival days and pollute the sanctuary and holy people.
Go ahead.
Set up altar and groves and chapels of idols and sacrifice swine flesh and unclean beasts, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised.
What? Leave their children uncircumcised. Go ahead.
And make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances, and whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die.
Yeah, so that's the history of our people. So when they put off their customs, that's when they became Gentiles. Go ahead.
Jeremiah 17:4. And thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from thine heritage.
That happened then. We're going to leave off from our heritage. And now it's happening to the poor. That's coming back. Go ahead.
Then I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in a land that thou knowest not.
Because we didn't know this land. The Negro, Latinos, the Negroes, the Haitians, and the Jamaicans did not know this land. But the Northern Kingdom came over already. They was already inhabited when Christopher Columbus came over with his goons. We got the history on that too. Go ahead, read what you got.
For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. Part of that was us going into the captivity with the brothers reading right now. Because not only that we lost our heritage, it was taken from us, a lot of our people. But you had some Israelites back then who refused to bow down to the king's his request. They were put to death. They were martyrs for
Place in heaven right now.
Good. You're right. So basically, our people were in that situation,
Right.
and then a lot of our people who basically subverted to it and said, okay, well, I'm just going to follow what they said through generations, because the scriptures also tell you that certain people who decided to do that was given licenses to do wickedness. I mean, and when you have that instance going on today, some of our people are given those licenses to do wickedness and to lead our people astray.
Like the sellouts of the Blue Lake Society and stuff, they're leading people astray. The Blue Lake Society,
I haven't heard of it.
so-called black people,
That's an offspring of the skull and bones. That's like a black skull and bones. Like that. That's our people. When you go into that nation of Islam, our people created that Augustine, Word06, and Cathedral, because what they did was took some of the writings out of the Bible and put it in the Quran. The Quran plainly tell you that the chosen people are Israelites, and it plainly tell you that the first revelation came out of the Bible. So they know that the chosen people are the Israelites. But like I said, Word06 and Cathedral and Saint Augustine that was in Algeria came up with that Quran to try to control them Arabs. Okay, but it got out of control. So what happened was it backfired, and the Arabs started slaughtering us as a nation of people, and then our people fell up under that bad. So they created that Quran to control the Arabs, the so-called Arabs in there, but it backfired. So our people came up with that Quran from straight mess. Read what you got.
It's Christopher Columbus and the partition of the Jews in the Spanish Portuguese discoveries.
So this was written by Christopher Columbus?
No, Dr. Caitlin Myers.
Okay.
What this is going into the documents and the history and the records, okay? What Christopher Columbus was doing, showing you that Christopher Columbus knew that Israelites was on this side. Go ahead.
This page 14. Zacuto doubtless called Columbus's attention to the De Navitibus during the latter's residence of Salamanca. He brought a copy of it in that city, according to the note of his own handwriting, for 41 maravedis. Later in Spain, he read with religious zeal the tract on the Messiah, which was written by the proselyte Samuel Abbas of Morocco for the purpose of converting R. Isaac of Sergimente.
So you had Christopher Columbus himself was a so-called Jew, meaning Jewish. He was like them fake Jews over there.
Jewish.
Yeah, he was Jewish. He wasn't no Israelite.
That big part. Ish.
Yeah, meaning the suffix, meaning pertaining to or to be like.
Right.
Go ahead.
It had been translated to
And then
Spanish.
then you had a lot of us Israelites that was in Spain too. That was in Spain, because Spain was ruled by so-called black people, which were Israelites. Go ahead.
Where the first slave came out of.
Yeah, which were the first slaves came out of there in 1517. Go ahead.
It had been translated into Spanish in 1339 and into Latin 100 years later. This book interested Columbus so much that he inserted 3 whole chapters. He was also very fond of reading the Bible.
Go down, read that slow.
He was also very fond of reading the Bible and the 4th book of Ezra.
So you got Ezra, that's in this Bible, and then you got Nehemiah, which is also the 2nd book of Ezra. When you go into the Apocrypha, you got the 3rd book, which is the 2nd book in here, and then you got the 4th book, which is the 3rd book. So what that's talking about is the second book of the Apocrypha, but they saying it's 4 right there. Go ahead.
It says, which was probably written by a Jew who lived outside of Palestine.
Oh, go ahead.
According to his own exertion, the incentive that impelled him to plan his discovery was not a love of science, but his interpretation of the prophecies of Isaiah.
Because he knew, because he knew that the 12 tribes, he knew, he knew that the 10 tribes was over her. He knew that the 10 tribes was over her. But we just going into the Gentile. We still, I just wanted to bring that out to show that they knew who they was coming to get. They knew who they was coming to get on this side, which they was going into Samaria, how they had left. So that's what I was going into, to show you that Columbus knew who he was coming over to get. He knew there was Israelites over here.
Also, that's why he took Hebrew interpreters with him, because he knew based on what his brother's about to be right now, which is the adventure the people are with.
Second Ezra 13 and 40. Those are the 10 tribes, which are the Northern Kingdom, the native and the Latin tribes.
Yeah.
Which were carried away prisoner out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, who Salmanasar, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the water, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen, real heathen, and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt.
Which they knew about
Never
that land.
mankind dwelt. Is that what you're saying?
Let's talk about it
Right here. That's what, yeah.
Which you read back in the time of King Solomon was he was getting his navy fleet over here to get
Gold and riches and take back to his country.
And so our people already knew this land existed.
But then they got so wicked they couldn't even afford to send ships over here anymore. You never heard about that?
Well, what they did was, no, that ain't happened on King Solomon. Continue
No,
though.
that didn't happen during King Solomon's time.
No.
But didn't they go into captivity in Babylon after that? After Solomon? That was after Solomon. That's the end of it.
Well, after Solomon, the two kingdoms had split up. And that's what we reading about right now.
Okay.
After Solomon, hold on. After Solomon, that's what we're reading about right now. But later on down the line, that's when the Babylonians came and got the southern kingdom.
Gotcha.
Later on down the line. But that's what we're reading about them leaving the Assyrian captivity after Solomon had after the two kingdoms had been separated from Solomon. Yeah, his son.
And then verse 42, that they might dare keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land, and they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passage of the river, where the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely a year and a half. It took a year and a half to get from where the Euphrates River started all the way around the bottom of Africa. And then over
Yeah, because they
America.
didn't have the Panama
They didn't have no canal
They had to
back.
go all the way around.
And then 45, going through that country, there was a great way to go, namely a year and a half. And the same region is called Ashereth. Then they were until the latter time.
Until now. But that's it on that. That's what I wanted to prove. That Chris Columbus knew, and just like the brother was reading about how about John chapter 4, that the woman in Samaria thought she was an Israelite. You know, over periods of time she was taught the custom of Israel, but our people had already came over her. So that's what we're going into the history about. And they knew that and the so-called Jews today knew, because they the one that funded Christopher Columbus, not Ferdinand and Isabella. They didn't fund that's a lie. Give me John 7 and 35. And then somebody give me 1 Corinthians the 12th chapter.
John 7 and 35. Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go, that he shall not find him? We shall not find him.
Well, he explaining to him his death. You know, that he got to be sacrificed. Who the world entered called Jesus. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Will he go into the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles?
See, so you had Israelites scattered amongst them other heathen nations, which they were Gentiles because they was taken on the custom